So Joe Biden thought, you know, I had a bad night. The debate was a bad night. And so he had to get out there and prove that he's still got it.
I had to dodge a bunch of flock of lemurs on the way over to the debate hall.
Exactly.
They're all over the road.
I felt like roadkill after that. He sat down with George Stephanopoulos for a pre-recorded interview on ABC News, which George assured everyone was unedited and unaltered before the interview aired. We're going to play a few different pieces of this since it warrants this kind of focus. But here is George's first question. Hey, what happened during that debate?
Did you ever watch the debate afterwards?
I don't think I did, no.
Well, what I want to get at is what were you experiencing as you were going through the debate? Did you know how badly it was going?
Yeah, look, the whole way I prepared, nobody's fault, mine. Nobody's fault but mine. I prepared what I usually would do, sitting down, as I did come back with foreign leaders or the National Security Council, for explicit detail. And I realized about partway through that, you know, I get quoted, the New York Times had me down at 10 points before the debate, 9 now, or whatever the hell it is. The fact of the matter is that what I looked at is that he also lied 28 times. I couldn't.
Sorry, this is worse than the debate. This is even worse than the debate because this is a pre-recorded interview with a friendly host, a host who was in the Bill Clinton war room.
Where they prepped you to the gills.
Yes, where they prepped you to the gills. You get to sit down in this nice room with this lifelong Democrat operative, George Stephanopoulos, which to his credit, I mean, he did seem to, look, we'll get to that later. You could tell the media wants him out. That's because George was actually pressing him, right? This wasn't a softball, which is an indication that the media wants him out. But what did he just say there? I mean, that was incoherent. This is even worse than the debate. Even worse, if that's possible. And this is supposed to be the recovery interview.
Deflect to Trump lies.
But it wasn't even just a straight deflection. It took him forever to get there. You know, I was over-prepared because, you know, when I was prepared, you know, I prepared like I was sit down with the foreign leaders, and then the New York Times had me down 10 points or whatever it was, 9 points. Like, there was no thought there. There was no train of thought there. It was a mess.
No, that's the panic button. When you get lost, go back to Trump lied.
Right. And keep in mind that Trump lied because at the end of this clip, he tells as demonstrable a lie as he's ever told, which is saying a lot for him. But this is really,
we talked about this, and maybe I'll get opinions from the audience. So I finished my Star Wars essay, which I'm going to turn into a video essay. But I might hold it for a couple of weeks to do a Biden essay. Because the way that they are trying to frame this, even the ones who want him out, as Biden as a truth teller, a man of integrity, it's mind-boggling. This is Joe Biden. One of the slimiest, sleaziest serial liars in the history of Washington. This is a man who is so shamelessly deceitful. He stole the biography of another man in a speech and had to drop out of his first attempt at the presidency in 1988. He is a fucking degenerate liar. He makes Donald Trump look honest. You're going to call this guy truthful? And you see it here, man. Even when he knows all the hot lights are on him, he still fucking lies. He was always that way. Yeah. Nelson Mandela, we did speedballs together one time in Johannesburg. He was always that way.
I mean, the lie he tells at the end of this is just more brazen than that. Even more brazen than that. But we will get to it.
I mean, the way the debate ran, not my fault, nobody else's fault. No one else's fault.
But it seemed like you were having trouble from the first question in, even before he spoke.
Well, I just had a bad night. You've had some bad interviews once in a while. I can't remember any, but I'm sure you did.
I've had plenty.
Yeah, I never melted down on camera.
I guess the question, the problem is here for a lot of Americans watching is you've said, going back to 2020, watch me, to people who are concerned about your age. And, 50 million Americans watched that debate. It seemed to confirm fears they already had.
Well, look, after that debate, I did 10 major events in a row, including until 2 o'clock in the morning after that debate.
Okay, I don't know what you're calling a major event. That seems like a pretty big whopper of a lie, and that's not the one I'm talking about. But what do you mean you did 10 major events? You did the after-debate rally where your wife congratulated you on a job well done. Then you did the rally the next morning. Then you did Wisconsin. That's 3. Were there more? I don't know what you're calling a major event, but that's not true that you did 10 major events in the next 2 days. Where were they?
Look,
they were so major.
If you ever had a relative with dementia, one of the things that really struck me seeing my grandmother go through that is the core personality is still there.
Right.
But it's like watching a mind go down the drain, literally, where the circles that the mind makes get smaller and smaller. But my grandmother's basic cadences and rhythms, even when she was reduced to the point that the things she was saying made no sense, still there. Like the basic way she would handle language and sentence structure never changed. He's a fucking liar. He was always a liar.
Exactly.
As his mind goes, he's just going to be, I did 10 events.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. All right, we're almost done.
I did events in North Carolina. I did events in Georgia. Did events like this today. Large crowds, overwhelming response, no slipping. And so I just had a bad night. I don't know why.
And how quickly did it come to you that you were having that bad night?
Well, it came to me as having a bad night when I realized that even when I was answering a question, even when they turned his mic off, he was still shouting. And I let it distract me. I'm not blaming it on that. But I
listen to what he just said.
Well, yes, you are. Well, yes, you are. Why'd you bring it up?
Well, he didn't do that. Trump did not do. Trump was not shouting into the room while Biden was talking. We had the split screen on almost the whole time. Almost the whole time. Trump was not. Do you really think? Let me play this one more time.
His mic off. He was still shouting.
He was still shouting.
I let it distract me.
And I let it distract me. That is a fucking brazen lie. We all saw on the split screen he was not shouting. And certainly, if Donald Trump were shouting, you don't think Dana Bash and Jake Tapper would have told him to stop? You really think
that it would have been all over the press the next day?
All over everywhere? What the fuck are you talking about? He was shouting. We all watched with our own eyes. Trump was standing there like this. He was leaning over like this, as if to signal to the audience, can you believe what this fucking guy on the other side of your TV screen is saying now? He was clearly not shouting. Like, that is just the most brazen lie I've ever heard him say. Because there's not videotape of Joe Biden not hanging out with Nelson Mandela. There's no video of that because it didn't happen. There's video of Donald Trump clearly not shouting. And you go and you say that, and you're right. Even though his mind is gone. And this is why, look, I've said this in the past. I consider Biden to be a shell of his former self. I never liked him, but I find it difficult to actively hate him now just because he's so not in control of what's going on. I hate Blinken more than him. I hate Lloyd Austin more than him. I hate Jake Sullivan more than him. They have agency. This is an old man with no agency, so it's hard to really actively despise him. But that old scumbag comes through in these moments because you can see, as much as, I don't want to kick a guy when he's down, even this guy, because I don't think he's deciding anything. It comes through just what an unbelievable habitual psychopathic liar he is. How could you fucking say that? How could you say that a few days after we all saw Donald Trump clearly not you're blaming it on something that everybody knows didn't happen? This is supposed to reassure people that you're in control? Unbelievable.
Okay, one, you're assuming that they didn't tell him to say that, and I wouldn't make that assumption because that's what they do. Default to Trump bad. Default to Trump bad. Our mindless voters will not question it. You don't see these Dems making the absurd claim that the media is on Trump's side? That the media is on because they're now doing reporting on the fact that the president has no fucking brain? And two, I don't feel bad for him. I see it as monkey's paw. Oh, you want to be president? All right, you get to be president when your mind is gone and all you can do is humiliate yourself on the world stage.
I didn't say I feel bad for him. I just said I don't really. I
feel like he's getting what he deserves. It's the whole monkey's paw myth. You make a wish and you get it, but it's not in the way that you wanted it, and it's terrible when you get it. That's how I see it. You always wanted to be president. All right, you could be president with Alzheimer's.
Well, that's fair enough. I'm just saying, like, when I see Anthony Blinken go up in front of, a committee or in front of the press, that actually makes my blood boil, because that is a consciously evil man saying what he knows is absolutely evil. This guy is just lost at sea. This guy has no idea what the fuck he's doing. So that's all I meant by that. But the dishonesty that has been a characteristic of this man his entire life is still there. You're right. It's still there. Those are just abject, provable, demonstrable lies to excuse a debate performance from less than a week ago that has now prompted senior members of your own party to start huddling behind closed doors thinking, how are we going to get this guy out? Mm-hmm. How are we going to get him out?
When all else fails, blame Trump.
Yeah.
Well, and you saw that this is just a much more crude version of the libs putting out the Gish galloping story. No one could have stood up to that avalanche of lies. He just lied so fast that nobody could. Okay, Obama couldn't have. Bill Clinton couldn't have. Joe Biden in 2004 couldn't have.
In 2012.
In 2012.
He was very strong in that debate against Paul Ryan. Very strong.
Right. Yeah. So there's just a more crude version of that. Blame Trump, blame Trump, blame Trump. Trump lied. So did Biden. CNN, to their credit, did a scroll of all of Biden's lies in that debate. He told the truth. It's ridiculous watching people try to frame a contest between Donald Trump and Joe Biden as one between an honest man and a liar.
No. It is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane.
Please clap.